Today, I want to talk all about multitasking and how it could be ruining your productivity and hurting your business from the growth I know you desire. Episode 99 starts right now. Welcome to the Lora Shipman Show minicast, a special edition of my podcast where it's just you, me, my mic, your earphones, plus quick tips and hacks you can implement immediately to improve your life and your business. Are you ready to get started? I know I am. Let's dive in. In true minicast style, let's dive right into this topic of multitasking. I'm just going to say right from the beginning, I don't believe that multitasking is a reality. It's not a real thing. I believe people who claim they are multitaskers are really just toggling back and forth from task to task. And over time, they got really good at toggling, and actually they became very fast at toggling back and forth. So in their mind, they do think that they're multitasking, when in fact, it's just a very fast form of toggling. So what does this look like? So let's take an example of you having a meeting with somebody who is a multitasker, or they claim to be a multitasker, and you're having a one-to-one meeting and you're talking, you're making eye contact, and all of a sudden their phone dings. They get a text message. They believe they're a multitasker, so they pick up the phone, claiming to still be listening to you and responding to whatever's going on the phone. Now, they may actually be hearing you, but they're not listening. They're losing out on detail of what you may be saying. And then when they go to respond to the text message, still claiming to be listening to you, they're actually toggling. They're moving over to texting to whoever it is that's on the phone, still losing detail. And then it takes them a while to come back into the conversation. And in the meantime, you may have even asked them a question and they still haven't responded yet, although they believe that they're multitasking. So when you're in that situation and you're watching the multitasker, look for the toggle, look for the pauses and the gaps, and look for them toggling from action to action. Now, when multitaskers, and I'm doing air quotes around multitaskers, when they engage in this activity of toggling, they're actually slowing down their productivity without them even realizing it. And it's because they don't have a good concept of how the brain actually works. And here's what happens. Our brains are set up to do one task at a time and to finish it to completion. If we're bouncing back and forth, it makes our brains inefficient, because what happens is our brains kind of go in this cycle where you hone in on the task, you get focused, you start working on the task, then you get to like a cruising speed of the task, and then you finish to completion. Well, if you interrupt that cycle, your brain almost has to start all over again. So think of it as a car approaching stoplights. So what happens is when you're idling at a stoplight and the light turns green and you press the accelerator and you go, you don't get to 55 miles per hour instantaneously. It takes you a little bit of time to build up the momentum to get to that cruising speed. And then when you see the red light come, you have to decelerate and brake in order to come to the red light, and then start the process all over again when the light turns green. Well, the same thing's going on in your brain. So when somebody says they're multitasking, they're really not. They're doing their brain a disservice by bouncing around all over the place and never finishing anything to completion. So when you get your brain into this vicious cycle of starting and stopping, it can do a couple of things. Like there are 3 things right off the bat that this can really interfere with. It can interfere with your ability to focus. If you're always training your brain to toggle, you can never train your brain to focus. You may actually cause memory loss. Like it might be harder for you to remember things and retain things because you're not giving your brain the opportunity to absorb everything you're working on. And then it could just create stress. I mean, you can see how that can happen if you're constantly bouncing all over the place. So if you are a multitasker or a toggler and you recognize this in yourself, do a couple of things to retrain your brain. Like really only work on one thing at a time and finish it to completion. Take away distractions. Go ahead and clean up your workspace and only have whatever you're working on at the time in front of you. Also, you might want to think about putting your phone on Do Not Disturb or putting it in another room so that you can clearly focus on the task at hand. Make a plan for yourself. Put a list together of all the things that you need to get done and just focus on one item of that list at a time. And then just be aware. Be aware of when you think you're going to bounce. And then control yourself and bring your focus back to whatever you're working on. But then the most important thing is, while you're retraining your brain to stay laser focused, is take breaks. So once you do work on a task, allow yourself to get up from your desk, walk around, take a break, whatever it is you have to do, like just change your rhythm so that you can go back and then get laser focused about the next thing you're going to do. The last thing that can really help you focus is pay attention to your rhythms. When are you the most productive? Are you really productive early in the morning? Is that when your brain is the most clear? Or is it in the afternoon? Or maybe it's early evening. Pay attention to what your rhythms are, and then take the tasks that require the most brain power and creativity, schedule them for that time of day so that you can be more successful and stay laser focused on what you're doing. Well, that's it for today's minicast. I look forward to catching up with you next time. Before you go, I just want to say thank you for tuning in and listening today. And I wanted to share something with you. As a podcaster, it's a unique experience because you're talking into a microphone and you're sending a message out there. And it's almost like talking to a black hole of sorts. You really don't know who's hearing your message and if it's resonating with anyone, if you've impacted anyone that day, all of those things. And it means so much to podcasters when you leave a message back for us, letting us know that, hey, the episode was great, or I would love to hear something about this, or just letting us know that you're there. It is huge. So if you could do me the favor of either just leaving me a DM on Instagram, messaging me through Facebook, or leaving a review on whatever podcast app you listen to, I would greatly appreciate it. I just would love to get to know you on a deeper level, maybe have some sort of communication. Maybe you even have suggestions for a show idea. I would love to hear from you. So don't be shy. Go ahead, hit me up on the socials, and I will see you next time.